the Service Hero Show. 365 days of awesome. Celebrate success through service. My name is Tamara Hunter, and today we have a service hero that was nominated for the honor by Andrea Adams Miller. Let me tell you about this service hero. I am excited to spend this time with her. Her name is Dr. Jill Briska, a chiropractor of 20 years that has realized due to personal experience that there is a need for an integrity-filled, honest, well-knowledged individual to be putting their hat in the ring of health and wellness in, well, let's just say in modern day practices. We're going to talk about that today. So welcome, Dr. Briska, or should we call you Dr. Jill?
You can call me whatever you'd like. Either one.
I'll call you a service hero. How's that?
Oh, I love that one.
I love it too. So I want to recognize as our buddies and our community comes in and those that are loyal to the Service Hero Show. I'm just realizing, guys, I have the Chemo Buddies colors up. You know what? Let's have some fun. Because, I'm going to show you guys something that is pretty exciting about technology. We were talking about this. I'm going to show you how, when you decide that you want to have a little bit of a change, things are not broken. There's a method to the madness here, guys. Follow me on this. When you go through life and things present an issue, you can actually change them. They may not look the same always, but they're going to actually possibly be exactly what you want in the end. Voila. So, we're going to talk about that. And because of what it is that Dr. Jill is doing. Hello, Erin, my dear. It's good to see you. Great to see you here, Helene, Miss Helene, ambassador from our Chemo Buddies for Life community. I'm grateful that you're here. Skip Thomas, always wonderful to see you with us. And yes, we have a little bit of humor that we share in our group. She's always like, there's a Waldo thing going on with a purple pen. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, let's talk. You were nominated by one of my dear friends that really, she knows people that are making a difference, and that's Andrea Adams Miller. Many people know her from the Red Carpet Connection and the Smiles movement, and she travels all over the world. She meets all sorts of individuals, and she knows those people that are out there doing something amazing. And she told me, Tamara, you really need to visit with Dr. Jill, because she has something that today being April the 22nd, 2020, people need to hear. So I want to go into that. And I think that us going a little bit into your backstory and where you trained and two pictures that you sent me, and I'm thinking, what was this about? But then I'm like, oh, I get it. So what got you to study? 20 years ago, Jill is not a doctor, and she decides that she wants to go out there and study to be one. And you went out of country to do that. So let's talk about that.
Well, the out of country was later, but okay. I initially went to National University of Health Sciences in Lombard. So I didn't have to travel far. It's basically a stone's throw away from my house. But it took me a journey to get to that point of deciding on chiropractic. I had many ideas of where I wanted to go, but nothing was a fit. And so I would try this and that. And eventually I thought about it, and I'm like, well, before I just start taking classes, because I could have been a lifetime student, I'm like, well, I better start working for a chiropractor and see if this is something I really like. And I loved it. It was just a perfect fit for me. So went through the training, and so I've been a chiropractor for 20 years. I'm now starting my second practice. My first practice was focused mostly on musculoskeletal, basically all musculoskeletal. This time around, I took some time off to be with my kids, But this time around, I had some life changes. There they are. Had some health challenges that really led me down a completely different path. This is very different than my first practice. I focus mostly now on energy medicine, and that's kind of a broad umbrella of a lot of different things, but I do more focus on chronic illnesses, people that have struggled with something for a long time, because I struggled with something for 4 years, and I just couldn't find the answers. I was really basically on death's door. It was very serious. So
I want to get to two pictures that it's just like, I really want to bring those into play, because they, towards the end of your education, you were talking about, okay, guys, I got these pictures, and I'm thinking, what does this have to do with my guest today?
More pictures of bats than my kids.
I know, and I'm thinking, bats of all things. I mean, I've seen a lot of pictures over all the shows I've done for this Service Heroes, and here a nominated hero, and so it's always like, okay, I'm getting to know this person, and I'm thinking, where do bats come into this? And then when you told me, I'm like, oh, that's good. So why don't we get this cleared up, guys? Because this is relative and relevant with what is happening today. And yes, everybody knows that over the last few weeks, I haven't been numbering these shows. I've been dating these shows. And so that we can go back in, we can, from the future, we can go back to the past, and we can say, what was happening on April the 22nd? The year 2020. We all know what's going on. These guys are somewhat relevant in some of the stories out there in the press, right?
Yes, they are. These poor little babies. So, well, when I decided to change direction on what I was going to do with the practice, I had been sick for a long time. I had severe food allergies. My hair had broken off. My face would swell every time I ate. I was down to 3 to 5 foods, and I had tried everything. I was taking 30 supplements. I was going from doctor to doctor in different states, and cleanses and detoxes and so many different things, and just not finding the answer. My general practitioner told me that her answer was that I was just getting old and I was depressed. So then
doctor
now I can laugh at it.
Yeah, I'm thinking, okay, member services, I need some new names.
So, but she didn't know what to do with me. And it is true. I mean, I'm 51. So the age is right, but depression came from, well, yes, my face is swollen, but I'm not depressed. It didn't happen first. It wasn't like the chicken and egg situation where I was depressed first and this swelling happened. Something was really wrong. And I left the office after she told me she wanted to put me on a statin and an antidepressant. And I said, I need to get another opinion. Right. And just my journey started. And it was a 4-year journey. But I started with looking at all these different things, doing all the cleanses, and down the pike came energy medicine, which is out of the box for me because I was trained very, anatomy and physiology. This goes here, that system does that. And so it was really kind of woo-woo, right? But
we use that around here a lot, especially in the close community. And guys, woo-woo, I am starting to understand is actually not so woo-woo, but and I really want to just a moment. I want to emphasize chiropractic because there are some people in some generations that have a thing. Oh, well, chiropractic is woo-woo. No.
In the scope of things, not so much anymore. There's a lot of stuff out there.
Right. So okay, so we established that you were in in a traditional, if you will, the muscle, the bones, the how does
this nerve goes
work?
there.
Yeah, and do you have this and that needs to be tweaked for that, and then you'll have the flow, and you understand that scientifically, and here you have your own body. Your hair is breaking off, your face is swelling up, you're not feeling well, and like you said, you got extremely ill. You're going to the traditional medical practice doctors, your general physician, and saying, okay, I need some help clarifying what's going on here. I'm not understanding it. And you're being told, oh, age and possible depression, or emotional issues and such things. And I have a question for you, because I think there's a lot of people that are most likely thinking this question as I am, and that is, how did you question if you were going crazy? Okay, am I imagining this? I know science. This is happening to me, and they're saying this. Is there something to it? Am I? Did you go there at all?
Well, you do start questioning somewhat, but I had the proof in the mirror every day that I did not look like myself. So it wasn't my imagination. I could see that there was something seriously wrong, and the hair breaking off told me, you're not crazy. There is something going on, but I could not find what it was to change it. I had done a lot of things. Of course, my thyroid was, I needed to switch my thyroid medication from a synthetic to a natural. That helped immensely. But the same problem did continue to remain until energy medicine. And it came in the form of something called NAET, N-A-E-T, which you hold little vials in your hand, and then you do the treatments, and your body picks up on the energy of whatever is in the little vial. It's put into a computer, these little vials of water, and it has a frequency, and everything comes down to frequency. Every organ, every system, every emotion,
Right.
everything has a frequency to it. So when that vial is put into the computer, it's downloaded with the frequency. You put it in your hand, and your body is able to sense what there's a change. So I did gluten, because gluten is probably an offender to most of us, and so that was just where I started. And I did notice a change. So I said, oh my gosh, there's something to this. There really is something to energy medicine. I'm going to look further into this. Well, then I went down to a seminar for nutrition in Florida, and there was a biological dentist there, and she was talking. She had a little card around her neck, and I asked her what that was, and she said, well, I'm a biological dentist. I have this practice, but I also have a side practice that I'm working on, and I do something called CyberScan, which is energy medicine, and it works with the frequencies of the body. And as she's explaining it to me, my jaw is just dropping, because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I am doing with the NAET and the vials, but on steroids, because you can do 140 things at a time as opposed to one thing or a couple things at a time.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Okay, we've been talking a lot in our group about frequencies and healing frequencies, and certain that you can get into certain areas where you have the love, and like how our emotions have a frequency to them, and within our close group with Chemo Buddies for Life, we have a lot of people that really understand this type of practice and thought process, and that it actually can have something to do with our general health, our emotional health, and possibly even our physical healing.
Yes.
And I don't know if they're still here, but some of our people that really understand this, because I'm not one of the ones that really come from this camp. I'm learning it right now with many of you, is that because this newer to the mainstream, and so I'm so grateful that Andrea Adams Miller did nominate you as a service hero, because we need to let people be empowered today on April the 22nd, that we can do some things to actually help our health today,
Yes.
not tomorrow,
Yes.
today. And Aaron and Skip are two of the ones that have really helped me to understand the frequency chart and everything, and that there's machines out there, that there's all sorts of different abilities for us to get better using the energy that we were given in this world, right?
Yes.
And I want to recognize, thank you, Caroline Opendi, for being here. She is one of our international service heroes that is works very closely with the UN and the women initiatives and health and wellness initiatives. And so welcome, Caroline, being here with us today. So, doctor, as you woke up, did you lose all your hair? I mean, you have beautiful.
Well, at this point, I'm wearing hair training wheels. So my hair was always long, but I lost so much of it. Now it's so thin that now I have to wear some extensions in there. But if that was one of the things. Yeah.
I'm gonna stop you there, just because a lot of our buddies right now are gonna say, "Are you kidding me?" Because that is something that, of course, a lot of them are in treatment in different places, and
Yes.
they're really like, okay, the hair thing is a big thing.
It is.
You have extensions?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
So
beautiful.
my hair broke off on the top. I mean, it was only just a couple inches, so I really had to do a lot of smoke and mirrors.
Good job.
So.
Good job. And let's keep going. But I really, because the community and Helene is saying, welcome to the community, and they're going to be like, oh, you look great. So, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, but that's part of the emotion. There's such an emotional component to everything. And as you were saying about the triangle, the upside down triangle, and emotions and frequencies of emotions, I mean, really, the physiological change that comes from an emotional, like whether you are at the top where you are having peace and joy and love, what vibrates and comes from that, you can create so much from it. Just as if you are at the bottom of the triangle where you're having guilt and fear. Fear is a huge one. Guilt is another one. That's why I when in my practice, this is one of the things that I get all the time is people coming in, I ate this and I know I shouldn't, or I didn't get to the gym and I know I should work out, and I had drinks and this, and it's like confession time, So that's one of the things I wipe off the board. First and foremost is get rid of the guilt. When you need a piece of pie, you need a piece of pie. You just pick yourself up the next day and you say, you know what? I had that pie. Now let's make some better choices. But there's that emotional health is so important because it is another triangle. The triad of health I talk about in my practice is structural, chemical, and emotional. And here it is here my name is Kintsugi Wellness, so I use the K of my logo. So structural, chemical, and emotional. But the energy is the piece that we're missing. We're really missing that energetic, how we think, we feel, and how we feel, we vibrate, and how we vibrate, we create. And that's on your cellular level. That's how the cells communicate with each other, is vibration. And so if they're not communicating correctly, then you are not going to get the change that you need, be it a hormone released or blood pressure up or down, or whatever the cellular level needs to be communicating. So
Andrea is saying here, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food.
That's right. Yeah. It's so important to, like, the way you eat, because our gut is so much of our immune system. I mean, it's 80% of the immune system, but it's also our serotonin. which is our feel-good chemical, right?
Right.
And so the gut is where it is at. And especially when we're talking at this point in time today, when we're all on lockdown worrying about coronavirus, be kind to your gut. Do something good for your gut, for your immune system.
I'm glad you brought that up, because you know what I've been hearing a lot? The question lately has been, so how many COVID pounds have you gained lately? You know, because it's like, oh, okay.
We're self-soothing.
Oh, yeah. And I appreciate the fact that you brought up, you know, if you need that piece of pie, you know, then honor that. Don't let it be like you know, a self-soothing every day. Like, then you can start seeing that you're going down a rabbit hole in an area in the emotional, right? The emotional quadrant. However, if that serotonin, the chemical, right, would be then well suited because you're having that piece of pie, you're feeling great. The energy is there because it's like, okay, I you know, I rewarded myself with that piece of pie. I wanted it. I'm feeling good about it. And I love this. Andrea's like, she's laughing. Confessions to Dr. Briska. You know, all right. You know, I'm thinking that's a whole new take on the, because you are taking medical. Can I just say, I love the fact that people are being creative right now in, you know, April 22nd, 2020, because we need to be. And, you know, maybe we don't have some of the old fashioned practice ways of being able to get together with our physicians, yet there's all sorts of new funky ways to being able to do it, called the internet, like what we're doing right now. And you have an ability, I've been told, that is another service hero thing, is that you can meet with someone online and you can be, because it's an energy field, it's working with them, that you can actually work with patients anywhere in the United States, because it's probably a licensed thing, I'm not sure, you can tell us, but you can work with people online, correct?
Yes. But it's not that I need to, you know, like speak to them. Obviously, if there's questions and there's things that they need to talk about or whatever. But what it is remember when I was talking about how the woman, the biological dentist, had on the card?
Yeah.
That is what the treatment is. And so that sounds crazy, but what somebody can do is you send a sample of hair or saliva, and that carries your frequency. I scan it, and then so it looks at where the frequency is imbalanced. So it takes the hierarchy. So if you knock out the top stuff, like the big hitters, the heavy hitters first, other secondary and tertiary things can kind of go away. It's most important, or it's looking at the top priority problems where there's the most frequency imbalance. And on that card, thanks to the software and computers and technology that we have, it's all based on quantum physics and Tesla and things like that, which everybody talks about.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Fan. More and more I learn. More and more.
It's amazing what quantum physics is telling us. So, but all the stuff is downloaded. The balancing frequencies are loaded onto the card, and then the card is worn for 2 weeks, and then it slowly and gently rebalances those frequencies. So this is what happened that changed me. That's why I am so impressed with and just so passionate about this specific type of energy medicine, because it was the only thing that changed. Within just a few short days, my face stops swelling. And I was like, I'm looking at myself and something is different. This can't be. And I live with my mom, so she's like, something looks different. And so we're both going, and then we sat at the table after, maybe a week or so. And I'm like, can it be? This can't be, but it is. And so I'm not saying that it's a cure-all for everybody, because we're all biological beings. We're all vibrational, different beings. And some things are like, some people just need that supplement. Some people need that surgery. Some people need blah. But if you are one that has gone for years and you have these chronic illnesses, allergies, addictions, or, it's also good for checking out to see where there might be potential problems. So, but it's such, I think this is cutting edge stuff where I think in the future, this is the way that we're going to be heading.
Okay, I'm totally like having fun here with my mind, and you guys ask questions. Let's go there, because okay, when you're in looking at your logo really reminds me, and I believe that it's not by accident, of this type of imagery, where and you know, of course, my community is going to be really keyed into it because we live with scars. You know, many of us, in truth, very, very physical. I mean, I just tease now because I've had so many surgeries and everything, and it's like, okay, you know, there's like different roadmaps all over the place, you know, and it's like not a big deal because it's I'm thrilled to be alive, right? I'm thrilled to be alive, and many others are in that same place. You are in that place. Maybe it's slightly different, but right now, you know, it's whenever we've had to do anything because we've been slightly broken, if you will, and what many would think if either of themselves or society might even think of us, we're not broken. We become more beautiful, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's why I named my practice Kintsugi, is for that reason. I mean, because we've all been broken in one way or another, physically, emotionally, on some level. And sometimes you don't think you will ever be put back together. And you do. You can find a way. And that gold that they use in the Kintsugi pottery, that's the art of mending broken pottery with gold. You're more beautiful for having been broken, and it's something to be not hidden away. You can show that and show how strong you are, and you'll never be broken the same way again. I love I mean, I'm a Dutch German girl, so but when people are like, oh, Kintsugi, I think they're expecting somebody else, but I reflect that just as anybody else. I mean, it's a beautiful philosophy.
I absolutely, you know, the very first time I ever saw, and I love your logo. I mean, really, the simplicity of it, right there, the white and the gold. You know, it makes a lot of sense, guys, right? I mean, when you look at it now, because you didn't maybe get it in the very beginning, but now I bet you guys are. And the very first time I ever saw this type of art, I'd already been through treatment and surgeries and everything, and it was in regards to, you know, I was reading some article or something and they brought it up, and I'm thinking, wow, how, I mean, in the depths of my soul, you know, because there's so many that when they're in the middle of it, they don't know which side is up. You know, you're in the middle of, you know, all of a sudden the deer in the headlight, I have to deal with this, whatever it may be. Your hair is breaking off. You've been diagnosed with something. Your life is going to look different. And then it's a matter of, okay, what's happening today? Today, many people are in this place. Many people right now are saying, you know, maybe I haven't been affected by the virus that's going around, but I feel broken right now because I'm not working. My family is falling apart. My kids are driving me crazy because I'm having to be the teacher and the principal and the parent. You know, whatever it may be, there's a lot of people that right now are feeling that brokenness. And yet, when we really look at the philosophy, because this is a Japanese philosophy, yes. and when you when I started studying that, because my son was actually, I don't talk much about this, but I have one of my kids that was actually from my city that I was living in. The time he was 11 years old, and he really wanted to be the ambassador for the city. And they used the junior high kids could go, and usually it was the eighth graders. And so he was like, I'll go, I'll help, and then maybe by the time, and he was in sixth grade, maybe by the time I'm in eighth grade, I'll get picked as an ambassador. But he was so gun-ho about the philosophy and the depth of character and the way that they think and everything. He just really fell in love with the culture. He was picked at 11 to represent our city as an international ambassador going to Japan. And so, of course, as the mom, you're folding all these little cranes, for the fountain cranes, and you're learning too as you're going. And so when you were talking about this, because we all have our life stories. When you were talking about this, I'm thinking how absolutely perfect for today for us to be talking about this, because as more and more people have been being real with themselves, a lot of people are taking a moment in time and saying, who am I? And what will I look like when I come out of this? We're in a global shift. And I love the fact that your logo is a circle. And how apropos for today, right? So we're in a global shift, and we're feeling a little of that K right now, all of us, a little, whatever it may be. And you're here to say, embrace the beauty of it. And we can all come out of it more beautiful than we went into this experience.
Yes. And we're all interconnected. It's not, we can look at this experience by looking inward and how we can heal, being fearful or being, like too much eating, or balance and appreciating our family and being together. But then also we're so interconnected with everyone. We're all energetically linked. And that's, it's the words that you say. It's not only the words you say to others, but it's also the words that you say to yourself. So it's on multiple levels. This is quite a time. It's exciting in some weird way that it might lead to change that we have been putting off or haven't thought of doing. We'll see what happens.
So I'm going to go back to these guys, because this comes back to right now. I mean, we introduced these guys in the beginning, and it was like, okay, what are we doing with these bats?
Oh my gosh, they're so cute.
I know, but right before we went live, you said something, and I don't remember exactly how you put it, but those sweet babies or something, and how they're getting a lot of press right now. And I thought, oh, okay, I really get this. And so when you were in, so you're introduced to frequencies, and I don't know, guys, I might not have this in line in timing, but we'll explore this. You're introduced to the frequencies. You've been, you're searching out your own health and wellness. You're realizing that you're becoming health. You have health and wellness victory that's taking place, that you're, wow, mom, yeah, it really is. A week later, yeah, I do look.
There is,
there is hope. So you're already a trained doctor. You've had a medical practice. You've been in the, if you will, nuts and bolts, or the bone, nuts and bolts, or the bones and sinews of the body. Yeah. And now you want to get into the quote unquote the woo woo, or actually, I believe truthfully, in what I am now witnessing, the energy of health, the energy of life, and you want to get into it. So you start to.
So as a chiropractor, we already talk about innate intelligence, that your body has that innate ability to know what to do to balance itself and to heal. Like when we get a cut on our hand, your body knows what to do to take care of that. Or when you get sick and you have a virus or a bacteria, your body knows to raise the body temperature so that it cooks it, gets rid of that, right? I mean, it's a natural,
Right.
it's your immune system in action. So I already understood that our bodies had that ability. But when I started with the energy medicine, and then I met the woman that had the card around her neck,
Right.
and I knew immediately, this is exactly what I have been looking for. This is it. So the training for this was down in Australia.
Okay.
But so it was either Germany or Australia. And maybe a year before, I would watch videos on YouTube. I don't know how it came down my suggestions, but these baby bats. And I would watch them because I was just so down in the dumps. Like, I'm so sick, so I watched a lot of YouTube, and so they made me happy.
There's a lot of people that are saying, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm doing the same thing right now. Okay, so you were
they cheered me up. They made me happy. I loved them, and I knew that they needed. They were like, they're already not popular, to say the least. I mean, this whole Corona thing has made it even worse for them, but they were already persecuted. And so when the choice came for the training to go to Australia or Germany, I knew I wanted to go to Australia. And I had called a woman there that had a bat sanctuary. I told her where I was going to be. Would it be possible? Oh my gosh, it was a life-changing experience on so many levels. One, Australia is beautiful. I'm very sad, about what has happened there, but Mother Nature or the whole ecosystem, will come back. But it was very devastating. But when I was down there, I had my class, and then I had a couple days extra that I could go. And these women, it was like I was some sort of celebrity. They rolled out the red carpet for me. They were taking me here and there, and I was able to see bats and kangaroos that I could reach out and almost touch, these hundreds of them. And they had, so all taking me on these tours. And we get to the end of one of the days, and we come on up to one of the houses, and they had a party for me. There was like 12 people at this party. Welcome, Jill, our fellow bat friend, from America. I tell you, my soul, I loved every part of it. And, between the women that were just so lovely and so welcoming, and the people that I met, it was just, and then to be able to spend time with the flying foxes and to learn about what I am now so passionate about. I mean, it was a pivotal week of my life.
And I want to shout out to all of our Australian friends. We have quite a few of them, and one of them is one of my coaches, Coach Vicky Amafalaji, and all of our Australian friends. I want to say thank you for everything that you do with being so generous of spirit, because you really, really are. And so thank you for that. And I had never heard that phrase, but quite honestly, to be honest with you, I don't know that I ever have sought out that much information about bats. And you're right now, and that's one of the things I love about the show, because we get a whole different perspective of how people come from service, and what motivates you, and what really inspires your passion and your purpose and your drive to help others. And to hear the phrase flying fox, that gives a whole different feeling to these guys that have been portrayed in movies, wink wink, as such villains in so many ways. And you're giving a whole new perspective. And today, I do want to recognize, shout out to Swampy and all of those that are recognizing today is Earth Day, April the 22nd. It's the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. So, how appropriate that we are honoring also those and putting them in their rightful place, and with some love, because we do believe in the year of love here at Chemo Buddies for Life in our organization. that I run. And so we're sharing some love with the flying foxes.
They're imperative to the ecosystem. I mean, nobody really, even in Australia, they're not all that popular. You know, when I went down and I said, I'm here to see the flying foxes, I got some crazy looks, not just here in America. They were like, why?
Yeah,
they
she's
are.
a Yankee.
If there's not bats, there's no koala bears. So we're, you know, they're very, because they eat the fruit and they spread the seeds and they spread
that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, your scars add to your beauty. And, you know, I want to just bring this back up here, you know, that a lot of us either have outward scars or we may have inward scars. And so many have had that feeling of, I'm supposed to just put that in that closet, take the key, lock it, throw it away, and go on with my life and go live, you know, like we have been for decades, generations. And, you know, go, as they say, you know, go earn the bacon and fry it up too. You know, they're like the commercials and everything like that, right? You know, I am doing it all, and I'm doing it with a smile, and my hair is perfectly coiffed, and, you know, on and on and on, because that's what our society has kind of like put out there for us, right? Yet now we have a moment in time today to say, who am I? And do I have, you know, ask those questions. Do I have outward scars? Do I have inward scars? How can I heal these? And you, as a service hero, my friend, dear Jill Briska, who, you know, I can absolutely thank you again, Andrea Adams Miller, and anybody that's out there, if you have a service hero that you would like for me to visit with and tell their story, I would love to hear from you and find out who you're thinking of right now. You are encouraging us to understand that we can embrace our full being, and if we feel that we need a little extra boost and help, that there are modalities, there are ways for us to be able to heal, that don't give up on that we can heal ourselves internally, we can get a little bit of help externally, we can go there and then find the beauty that is us, uniquely us.
Well, you know, when I spoke earlier about the triad of health, where I said it's structural, it's chemical, and it's emotional, that is an equal-sided triangle. Somehow in our culture, the emotional gets such little play. I mean, it's so minimized, and it's all about how are you working out and what are you eating. But the emotional part of it, when you talk about when you just tuck them away or you lock them away and you don't talk about them, those emotional things tend to show up. If you're not going to notice me this way, maybe you'll notice me another way, and it will manifest in a different way. So it's important that we understand it's equally important to look at those emotional things. Right?
So true. In fact, I've talked to a lot of doctors and therapists over the last 3 years, 4 years, a lot of them, and a lot of them from the oncology world. And that is what I have heard, is that
they are talking about that.
Yes,
that's awesome.
Yes. Yeah. And in fact, that's one of the reasons that I started the nonprofit that I have, is because of my actual oncologist. He had me, there was a study, and you may want to look at it, but there was a study done out of the UK, United Kingdom, in the Manchester Journal, 2017, June or July of 2017, and it talks about our emotional health, how when we are isolated and feeling alone, when we're going through treatment, because, we're talking right now, guys, and when I talk about traditional adjunctive alternative therapies, right now we're kind of really in the adjunctive mode. We're talking that you can either go adjunctive or alternative. Adjunctive is traditional and
yes.
Other therapies combined to create wellness and health.
Yes.
Then you have the alternative.
This idea transcends. It transcends. It's not just alternative. It's not just allopathic. This is kind of whole. This is whole. Everybody.
I love it.
Can understand that, and I love that oncologist was saying that. I love.
Yes, because he said, go read this study that the heart and mind actually do have something to do with the physical body and the healing of the body. And they had taken other studies, and they found that if you were isolated and alone, your chance of making it 5 years or more, even when you're going through the chemotherapy, because they were talking about chemotherapy rooms, if you were isolated and alone going through your treatment, your percentage of living 5 years or longer was going to be diminished from those that were socialized, is what they called it. And so we say, of course, that they get a buddy. That's our whole premise. And so what you're doing right now is you're validating all of this, is that there is an equal, it is absolutely critical for us emotionally to be, healing ourselves, because it will, it can show up in one of these other quadrants. And thank you for that validation, because we need more doctors, more credentialed individuals. You are such a hero for this message to go out there. Absolutely. I mean, for our community, absolutely, 100%, because we need to hear from the medical community saying, yes, we can live longer. Yes, we can make it through this. Yes, we don't have to listen to that quote unquote formula that, oh, you've been diagnosed with this and you have only that. No, we can utilize the different quadrants for full health and wellness.
And I think that is, again, like I was saying about energy medicine, that I do think that this is the wave of the future. This is where it's going to head. Just because of the quantum physics thing, how quantum physics is what is going to bring us driverless cars.
Yeah, right. Right. They're already people, if you don't understand that, they're already out there somewhere.
They're coming, and people. Yeah. But that's, again, when they had horseless carriages, or like like the horseless carriage was like, oh, well, that'll never take off. Well, look at how but now it's like,
no way.
Now it's going to be like driverless cars that'll never take off. It's coming. Yeah. It's really, yeah. So this is what we're talking about with that, but also the working together, doctors working together, as opposed to, we're not pieces, parts. We are a whole. So if we can, there's a time and a place for surgery. There's a time and a place for drugs. There's a time and a place for doing something more natural. If you can try something natural first, I think it's always kind of better, than having to do a medication, because there's side effects, and it's a chemical,
Yeah.
But there's a time and a place.
Right.
So, yeah. So I think that's going to be where it's all heading eventually.
And I love it. And see, those that are willing to go out there, I mean, guys, let's be real. We've got Dr. Jill with us right now, Dr. Jill Briska, that is here publicly talking about this with all of us. That is a hero's journey also, because not everyone is willing to embrace this right now. It's like those, and I love history, and so I love the fact that you use the horseless carriage, those that were so tied to their horses, like, no, there's no way that our horses are ever going to be replaced. No, they went out to pasture, if you will, wink, wink. The horseless carriages in everybody's driveway right now, they're not being used as much right now, because, or you may have to wear your mask when you're driving, at least in certain areas. And we were talking about that before. I'm in Southern California, so yes, you go outside your door, you got to put your mask on. You're at least able to kind of go some places right now.
For now,
yeah, and
it's gonna.
but that's what's happening in our day right now. But you're actually out there saying, you know what, there's so much hope around the corner, and so much healing that is there to be taking place. And Helene is saying, I am thankful for Chemo Buddies for Life, for they have been helping me through my treatment. I appreciate them for being there, and all of us going through this, through this together, basically. And when you have a community that braces, comes together and says, okay, there is health and wellness in community. There is health and wellness and being able to laugh, that serotonin, you brought it up. There's health and wellness in raising our vibration and understanding what that means. There's health and wellness when there are people that are out there that are willing to publicly say there's health and wellness options, and understanding the science, and then having a personal experience that then took you on a journey. And because of YouTube, I love that, because a lot of us have those guilty pleasures right now, Netflix, YouTube, whatever it may be, and again, pie, and you're saying, hey, don't beat yourself up with that.
I've really brought a lot to the table. Pie and bats. That's right.
You're talking our language, and that's what's fun, because you actually are bringing more than that.
Guilt-free.
And I really want to talk about this, because you on your website, and we'll have that all loaded in, guys. We're going to load all of this information in, because you have even a 24 question. And I started looking at this and I'm thinking, these are good, 24 triad health assessment questions that we can ask ourselves, right? Like, do I exercise regularly? Do I sleep less than 7 hours a night? Have I chronic aches and pains? Okay, guys, anybody like saying, okay, she's talking possibly, have I had significant accidents or injuries? I have a digestive issues. It goes on and on, 24 questions. Now, why are you asking questions like this now? If they go and they answer them, why are you asking them?
Well, you're looking to have them kind of just self-assess their health and the aspects of that health, like the triad of health. So you're looking, are you really out of balance? Are you more, do you have a lot of problems in one area or problems in another area that you might need to address? But that's simply why I ask about it, because it starts you thinking, right, am I balanced in my life and in my health? And then you can go from there. I believe strongly in empowering the patient to decide and to know their direction, or to educate them, and that knowledge is power. And then they will live it, because they have owned it. Like Oprah used to say, you got to own it. It's so true. Because then you'll make different choices. If you're just like, well, I don't know why I'm doing this. My doctor told me I have to do it. It's like, well, then you don't own it, and you're probably not going to follow through with it.
Yes. Remember when I said that I talked to my doctors, and a lot of people, the thing that they really, because, oncologist, that's a traditional doctor, and yet the practice, you'll love this. The practice was started that I was treated with was a dual citizen, United States and Australia. So he had a real global way of looking at things, staying within the Western, standard of care practices, and complying with both the United States and the international, standards of practices for the different health and to get us back in and get through this. Don't let it define us. Get through it. And so we were educated. All of the patients that went through my practice, through where I decided to get help, we were educated. We were empowered. We were co-creators of our health and wellness, and we were taught to have that kind of ownership of it, feeling it from our toes. And so then, as and I ended up with a buddy through mine. It was, a series of events. I had a buddy. And so then they kept watching that and they're saying, wow, you know what? This is even more of a component of what we really need is for people to be able to not feel isolated and alone, be able to have someone that relates to them and everything like this. Back to that emotional quadrant there. So then you've got the chemical, the emotional, you've got the structural, you've got the energy, you've got the full circle 360 300. I always go 365 days of awesome because that's the show. But it's like I want to go there. But the full circle, the circle of life, right?
Yes.
And that's what you have alphabet soup credentials now, right? You've gone to school, you are really well educated. You know what you're doing. And the thing about you that when I was introduced to, look her up and everything like this, and why, one of the things that was brought up to me is that, let's just be real, guys, whenever you're cutting edge, there are going to be those that come for the science of it, for the passion and purpose of it, and there are going to be those that come to say, I'm in it for the almighty dollar. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to go here too much, but you guys know what I'm talking about. You come from it because you were personally well served and you have a passion for your industry. And so you have gone and educated yourself. You've gone the extra mile and you decided you were going to bring this out there to be a fair situation for those that need help, right?
Well, because I understand the energetic concept or the whole energy, what energy is all about. If someone is doing something just for the financial gain,
right,
that energetic, it's just not right energetically. So because I am passionate about it, I mean, we all want to make a living. We all want fairness. Yeah. That is so pivotal to me because there's people that are charging exorbitant amounts of money for treatment. I mean, I'm talking $10,000.
Wow. No, so it's like with that card that you were talking about and that whole thing. So like if I was to say, okay, I'm really interested in this, I'm going to send you a swab or I'm going to send you a piece of my hair or whatever it is, then I do that. You do the stuff with the software and the machine, mm-hmm. and then you say, okay, Tamara, these are the big issues, and then it ends up being a domino effect to the little issues when we take care of the big issues. Am I getting this?
Yes, that's it. I mean, that's why I think that it is, I really focus a lot on people that have chronic stuff that they just can't get over it. They've been from place to place to place. Obviously, at some point when you have gone through that, it is emotional. So you want to make sure you're addressing that. You want to make sure that the system as a whole is functioning and communicating the way that it should, the 12 systems of the body. But you kind of customize it to, you tell me, on the paperwork that you fill out, what are the things that you want addressed? And usually it's pretty much, I make sure that everything will be addressed that are your concerns. So when the sample comes in, the paperwork comes in, I know what to put in for your scan, and then it comes out. I mean, I don't tell it what to say. You know what I mean? Like
right.
If it's a digestive, I have IBS. I just make sure to do digestive. I do the systems of the body for the first scan usually. But then that card is sent to you. But what will also come to you is a report of findings. And so I go through the 14-page report and I kind of put it into layman's terms so you can understand it, because there's something about seeing it, understanding it, and having an objective report done. I mean, it's not your opinion. It's not my opinion. We just put it in, and the software and the database looks at all these different things. So it's objective. You see it, you process it, then So then you can potentiate that on top of what is being done with the card. And then I'll also put my notes of this and this issue may be that this could potentially be a problem also, or you may want to try this or that. I'm not a big supplement person. I don't think that people should be taking supplements. Like I said, I was on 30 supplements and it wasn't doing anything except for draining my bank account.
Right.
Just a few,
Right.
if you need them. But it really should be your food. You should be just eating good quality food, and it's not rocket science what you need to eat. There's just high quality foods, and then there's stuff that you probably just want to avoid. But yeah, any diet that you follow too.
As we start to wrap this up, I do want to say, because right now there's a lot of people that are food challenged in that, especially like my community, they can't necessarily even, they're not supposed to go out so much themselves. They, because of protection issues and such, especially in treatment, they need to have people be bringing things to them, and so, to, again, not to tax someone and stress them out. Oh, right now, yeah, I used to do that. Right now, I'm a little challenged there. So is there that moderation in all things kind of thing? You do the very best you can in the areas that you can, and you start wherever that may be. And then not to stress over, because that takes us in that lower part of that cone, not to stress over what that can't be done. Do what can be done, feel good about it, and then move on, right?
Yes. Our bodies are very smart. Like if you're, you do want to take good care of your gut, because your gut is challenged. I mean, if you've had chemotherapy, I'm sure that's part of one of the things that can happen is a problem with the gut lining. But as Americans as a whole, our digestive issue, or our digestive tract is challenged just because of what we eat and the stress that we have. So you always want to be kind to your digestive issue, and make sure you're eating things that help that wall lining. Another good thing is fasting, like extended fasting can be one of those things that really is helpful. Like after 3 days, if you can do 2 or 3 days, the intestinal stem cells start producing, and so it can heal the gut lining. But those are things that you could all do at home. You don't necessarily need to be buying a special system or taking something all the time. Just get your good quality food that your body knows how to get what it needs from it. And every once in a while, for your emotional health, have a piece of pie and just embrace it. Don't be like, oh, I'm such a, like I can't do anything
Just
right.
totally,
just
like
eat that
totally,
pie, and it's
I'm
good,
loving
and I love
it. Yeah.
I'm
loving it. All right. Well, I'm going to give you a few moments, and I'm going to go down from the line, and I'd love for you just to kind of wrap it up and just, a few nuggets that you would like to share with people that today that they would be able to possibly do for their health and wellness. Yes, Helene. Yeah, side effects from chemo, not fun. Right. Yeah. No, we hear you on that, my dear. And so, what is it that you would like to encourage people to possibly, some words of wisdom, a nugget, something for today, that you believe that this audience should be hearing from you? And then I'll come back up and we'll close it all up.
Well, as we are all on lockdown, I think that it is really important that we don't fear. The fear is a low vibration frequency, and it just, because of what we think, we feel, and what we feel, we vibrate, and what we vibrate, we create. If you are in a state of fear, it is going to, in the long run, lower your immune system and emotionally affect you. So you're going to want it, creation of problems could come from that. That, I think, for today is probably the best message that I can give. That's important, that we all just really take care of ourselves, be kind to ourselves and to others, because emotionally, this is an emotional thing right now. It really is. Yes, there is a threat of getting something or whatever, but really at the end of the day, if we're following what we should be doing right now, it's more on the emotional end. So keep yourself mentally healthy.
I love
Love
it.
each other. Yeah.
We have one question that I am, Dottie is asking, what supplements do you use?
I really take very few. I do take vitamin D. I make sure to get vitamin D in. Um, Once in a while, I will take like a multivitamin, just if I know that I've been not eating so well. I have kind of like a cabinet, and then I'll just kind of pick and choose what I need. But as a regular thing, I make sure that I do something for my gut, and I will take vitamin D because we've had a long winter. We're not in Southern California. We're in Chicagoland, so we have had lots of dreary days. So those are the couple ones that I really mostly take.
Well, I'll say I'm in Southern California, but I'm sun challenged, and so so I have a couple of oncologists. One's a dermatologist oncologist, and he's like, you don't go out there, so you have to do the vitamin D, and so there's some of us that do have to do that, and so. So she's saying thank you, and Helene just loved the way you buttoned that up. So as we close today, Dr. Jill Briska, today, the Service Hero Show, 365 Days of Awesome. Celebrate success through service. You are a service hero.
Oh,
We've actually absolutely determined that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You have shared your story. You've inspired us. You've inspired us to embrace our lives internally and externally and see that our scars are beautiful and that we are not broken. We are a piece, that we are beautiful. Our scars are beautiful. There's beauty in them, and that we can be well balanced in all of it. And I love your circle in your logo. Thank you. That's being a service hero, to bring that out and then to educate us today. Spend this time with us through having a really fun chat, talking about bats and kids, and then how can we serve our own bodies better. You also are being a service hero in that you are helping those that want to take their health and learn about it, and being fair and leading the charge of fairness within this newer medicine and modality, because those people that are on the cutting edge can take two roads, and you're taking the high road, and that in itself is truly a service hero. So I want to say thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much. I'm leaving here feeling like $1,000,000. I got to tell you.
Well, good. And you know what? And Helene is wrapping it up. That's a wrap, folks. Thank you, Dr. Jill. We appreciate you very much. Have a wonderful day. And those of you that are buddies, tonight, it's Wednesday, What's Up Wednesday, and we are going to be looking at the relevant events. One day a week, we have one of our medical people, our vice president of the board, and she comes in with common sense that we need to be looking at, that's relevant for today for our buddies when it comes to protecting ourselves with what's happening out in the world. So we will be meeting in the closed group at 5 o'clock Pacific time this evening, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Come join us. It's always, we also share, we have a chat, we share a lot of humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love. So see you there. If you haven't joined us, join us. You're welcome to join us today. Bye-bye.